Hi, I'm Doug Wallman. Today I am going to be unboxing the ART Pro MPAII Class A microphone preamplifier, just to make sure I got all that right. Cheat sheet. ART, I've heard it pronounced ART sometimes, I think it's ART. The ART Pro MPAII 2-channel discrete Class A microphone preamp, otherwise I would just say ART Pro MPAII. It's a pretty big box, so I didn't open the video up with it on my desk because it'd block half my face probably. Wow. So, I'm gonna probably have to actually move my mic just a little bit. There we go. Let's get to unboxing this. So I just got this off of Amazon. I know it's a specific store. I don't remember which one, to tell you the truth. Is completely empty. All right. So, I mean, the box alone deserves a good shot. There we go. Just trying to get my mic situated here. All right. Wow, this looks really nice. Quite big. Now I realize I just got the ART Studio V3. So I don't know what my plans will be with this. I could still maybe use it. But just keep getting more stuff. I'm gonna have to stop pretty soon. But I thought, I nearly need a nice preamp, so I just decided to go ahead and get it, I guess. Let me turn the gains up on this. So yes, right now I have this mic, which is an Octava, I say Octave, MK012. It's connected. Just checking my gain here. It's connected to the Focusrite 4i4 or Scarlett. So I'm not using this ART Studio V3 just for the sake of, before and after. More of a solid state versus, this is a tube microphone preamplifier. Now I know there's probably some argument that's valid that it's still a solid state. I don't want to get into all that. I think this is definitely a little more on a real tube preamplifier. At least it's much closer to that, but I'm no expert in any of that. But it does have more than the choke voltage going on, whatever that whole thing is with the plate voltage. I mean, you are able to saturate the tubes on this. So let's get to opening this. There we go. Got ourselves the owner's manual, which I did read a little bit, skimmed through it on the online version of that. This appears to be brand new. This is what I ordered. Of course it better be. Let's get this power cord out of there. All right. I'm going to have to clear my desk from this box here. Man, even the box is nice. Well, before I close that up, let us unveil this. It's kind of hard to do. Here, I'm going to have to get rid of this box for right now. Very nice box though. I don't even know what I'm showing off. So there's the box. Oh, shove that over here. Probably leave it open so I can put the plastic in there. And this. Too bad I can't make my videos a little more or less awkward, huh? Alright. Now this is the rack mount version. I don't have a rack to put it in, but I don't think I really need one. I do have a cork Triton rack, so I could have that and one other thing. The Triton and this. I don't know if you need a rack for two things. I think this takes up 2 spaces, I think. And I think the Triton might too. I'm not sure how all that works. All right. So this probably deserves a video that's a little more sexy. I may have to do that. I'll try to focus on it at least. Now we're just gonna do a separate clip next. All right. I am back and I haven't plugged this in. In fact, the power cord is still up there. Now this type of product is probably worthy of something more than a hot swap. And I can't explain why, but I'm still going to try to do a hot swap. There's the power cord. I think the first thing we'll do is just plug it in. Now all the knobs are down. The impedance one, I think 600 would be kind of middle of the road, but we'll leave everything down. All right. Here's our handy dandy power cord. I'm just trying to share the moment when I turn it on and all that good stuff. But I'm going to have to sort of do a few awkward things here. All right. I'm going to plug it in. All right, said unit is powered in. There's the power cable, but I think what I'll do before we do that, I'll turn this around so we can actually see what we're doing this time. On camera, that is. So there's where I plugged it in. So here's our, this is a TRS to XLR. So here's channel 1 balanced output. Let's make sure we're focused where we need to be. Okay. Balanced input is what we're after, actually. Right? So yeah. So actually balanced output for this part. Balanced output. This will go into the Scarlet. All right, let's do that. In fact, I didn't really think of this until now, but I brought it over here. I usually don't show my Scarlet, but there it is. I think we'll go ahead and put it in channel 2, I guess, for now. All right. And this is all the way down. I think this is partly where the hot swap begins, is I'm going to turn this one down. So for a little bit you won't hear me. And I'm going to turn off the 48 volt phantom power over here. And then I'm going to plug in, let's see here. I'm going to plug in this guy right here, which is right now, this is, where am I at here? Yeah. I'm going to plug this into the balanced input here. First, I'm going to turn this down and the 48 volt off. test, test. Test 1, 2. Test 1, 2, test, test. All right. You can hear me a little bit, I think. Test, test. Oh, there I am. Test. I have this all the way down because I kind of want that passive. Impedance, I just put at 600. I don't know much about that yet, but test, test, test. I have this bugger cranked. Now, this does have a... Now, I took the low-cut filter off my mic because this has one. Just want to try it out. Right now, I have it set in the middle. Test, I could turn it all the way off. I think that's off. No, it's not really off. I'm going to leave that part alone for right now. The gain's all the way up. Impedance 600. What happens if I turn the impedance? I think it's test, test. We're going to leave it at around 600. So they're cranked. Test 1, 2. You can see the... Well, you might not be able to see the meter very well unless I turn down the ISO. Test, test. Now you might be able to see the meter. Test 1, 2. Well, you can definitely hear me, but I'm definitely cranked. I don't know if we need a 20 dB thing. I'm going to turn them both down, honestly. I think it affects one, but I don't know which one. So the gain and the master, I'm going to turn both down. Before engaging the 20 dB gain. Test, 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 test. Yeah, that's... Oh, I better watch the level here on my camera. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Let's try the low-cut filter now. Test 1, 2. I don't know exactly where I have it, but it's somewhere in the middle. Test 1, 2. I imagine that helps me out a little bit. Because if I start rolling off too many frequencies, test 1, 2. Somewhere in the middle is probably pretty good. I'll check more on that later. Maybe down there. Maybe somewhere in that area. I think that's 40, possibly. I'm not sure. It's one notch below 45. We'll see how that sounds. Test 1, 2. Maybe a little bit that way. Yeah, awesome. It sounds pretty quiet from what I can tell. Whoa, test 1, 2, test 1, 2, test, test, test. Yeah, that tube warmth's a little too much there. Or I probably just clipped it. Test 1, 2. Now the high plate voltage, that would be interesting, but I'd probably want to turn this down. I don't know if that's really meant for voice, but it would be interesting. That one is right here. That engages the tube a little bit more, but I heard it takes, was it a minute or two or something like that to engage, and then another minute or two to disengage. So very interesting. I'm not going to probably get into the mid-side matrix, but you can't really see what I'm pointing at now because I have it exposed for the VU meter. I won't get too deep in this or pretend that I know what I'm doing because I really don't, but I know enough to operate the thing. And it's a little overkill for my needs, I suppose. What I probably need to do is hook it up to my keyboard at some point. Probably show that next. I'm not sure how great it would be for a piano, and honestly, what I like is a virtual instrument, which I suppose you could route a virtual instrument through here, because Final Cut Pro does have an I/O function where you can route your hardware through, but I'm not sure how well that would be for a preamp. It probably would work maybe, but I'm not sure if that's a normal thing to do. So we have this 20 dB gain thing on, and we have the plate voltage at the high setting. Wow. Test 1, 2. My voice probably doesn't need that much grid, although I don't really hear that it's like horribly distorted or anything like that. Probably sounds cool that way. Test 1, 2, 3. I'm not even talking, or I wasn't even talking directly into the mic. I'm a little off axis, I think. Just a little, but I'm still pretty close to it. Well, it sounds good. I didn't expect to have to turn it up that much. Let's turn down the gain. And yeah. Test, I have to crank this all the way up. All the way. And it's about the same as what I had. Now let's turn down this low cut filter. I'm not sure how to turn it off, but it's all the way down to, I think it's called 7.5. At that level, you're probably, it's what it's cutting, the low frequency that it's cutting off is so low that it's probably not going to matter, but I'll have to read the owner's manual on that one. But if I go this way, I think I'm cutting more and more of the high frequencies, test 1, 2, which, impact the low, how it sounds. I have to kind of crank my head probably into the camera to see what it is, what setting I'm at. That one says 200 hertz, so yeah, that's drop in the 200 hertz. To what degree, I don't know. I think I can tell that it's kind of shaping how it sounds. Taking a little bit on the low end off. 200 and below. 200 hertz and below. Test 1, 2. We'll just go a little bit to the left. Test 1, 2. Test. 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 Maybe we'll expose it more for the... Whoa, that's too much. Somewhere in there, I think. You can at least see the knobs now. Test 1. So 200 hertz going down, down, down. Test, test. So the more we turn it to the left, the less we're cutting as far as which frequency, starting at which frequency. But yeah, don't quote me on any of this. I should not even pretend I know what I'm doing, but you're going to hear more low end as you turn it to the left. So yeah, somewhere in there is probably good. In the middle, I probably need a little. I think like 80 would be a good setting, but I don't know where 80 is exactly. Probably somewhere in there. Guessing it would be somewhere around the 3 o'clock. Because if that's 200, I'm guessing that's probably 100. Somewhere in there. That's 45. So somewhere in there is probably about the appropriate setting, I'm guessing, though. 2 to 3 o'clock. Because you would probably want to start rolling off somewhere at 80 hertz. But once again, I don't want to pretend like I know what I'm doing here. Too much. Quite a piece of equipment for a novice like me. I'm not totally a novice, though. I can kind of figure things out. That's it. That's a lot to have as 2 channels just for a mic preamp. So I could put my keyboard through the other side, but I like to do my keyboard with stereo. So this would work good for that function, just stereo. Or if I just want to give up the stereo and go mono there, that would be fine. Or use this for the keyboard and my little tube MP, the ART Studio V3 tube MP for the vocal, but nah, I could try that, but I think I kind of like this for the vocal. I think I'm more concerned about my vocals having a good preamp than my keyboard, because really I like the virtual instrument that I got, which isn't, that kind of turns my keyboard mostly into a controller. But I do have pads and things on there, but I'm not so concerned about the pads and strings and things having to be warmed up. Maybe I should be though, huh? So I have this gain on this Focusrite all the way down. I know some people kind of mix a little bit from one to the other, but I think I would use all of this and none of this. This would be like, what do you call it, a passive input or a line in when this is turned all the way down. Or I could go in the back, which is definitely a line in, but this is too when you turn it all the way down. Well, that's it for this section. Soon I'll try to go ahead and hook up my keyboard. I don't know if I want to do piano or whirly. Whirly would be more appropriate for like a little, a little warmth, but we'll see what I decide to do. That will be coming up next. All right, we'll see you on the other side. Well, maybe I'm not quite done yet. Let's turn off the high plate or the plate voltage. Yeah, that's what that is. I think it's high plate voltage. Let's turn it off and then give it a couple minutes and see what difference we have, which means I'll have to talk about something. I don't know, Pro MPAII 2-channel tube microphone amplifier. I think this instrument high Z is where you would plug in like a bass guitar. I'm not sure about acoustic guitar, maybe. First I was wondering if that's where you could plug in your keyboard. I don't think so. Keyboards are like low impedance and this is high impedance. You probably still could, you just have to turn it down, but I'd probably plug the keyboard in the back. Although it says balanced back there, and most keyboards are probably unbalanced, it could probably be fine. Can you hear any difference now with the plate voltage turned off and how it impacts my voice? I didn't pay much attention to that meter. I think that meter was a little higher with the tube warmth there with this plate voltage, but I don't want to turn it right back on again. You can always look on the video to see where it was at with it on. But yeah, this probably is more important than getting a nicer mic. I already have a pretty nice mic with this Octava, although there are nicer mics than that. Awesome. Yeah, this gain in this master is turned up all the way. That is amazing. Which really means, you could adjust this, but it looks like I'm getting the kind of level. In fact, I'm getting into the yellow a little bit on my camera, so it's plenty loud. And I don't hear a bit of his. Any noise floor that I do hear, I'm assuming that's either in my room or even noise from outside that's kind of leaking through. Yeah, it's hard to hear what that noise might be. I do hear something. I think that might be traffic. I'm not sure. But not too important. All right. If I wanted to soundproof it in here, it'd be quite the process. Well, with that, we'll get on to the next part of the video. Thanks for watching up to this point. All right, I'm back. I no longer have the mic through the Pro MPAII 2. I have it going through an ART product, though. It's the Studio V3. It's because I want to have my keyboard be stereo through the Pro MPAII 2. So I'm using both channels for keyboard, but actually right now, no, just so we have a reference point, I'm actually going through the Focusrite, the Scarlett 4i4 right now, just to begin with, so you have a before and after. So I'm going to play something, actually it's on a black upright piano coming from my Nord Electro 5D. So I'm just going to play some black upright piano is what it's called. They have a shimmer pad Jesus culture thing I found online. So there'll be a little pad in the background. So we'll play that, and I'll turn down the microphone here. Take two on that. That was bad. Just a quick reference there. Okay, now I'm going to try to find some whirly, if I remember where that's at. Whirly, tremolo. And I'm going to let you know what it sounds like with the drive engaged on the keyboard itself. Whoa, that's too loud. So I have to turn that down. So actually that sounds pretty cool, right? But I'm going to turn that part off. And this is still just the Focusrite. I can maybe turn it up now a little more. So that's just the Focusrite. Okay, and I turned off the drive, even though that drive in this Nord Electro sounds pretty cool, actually. All right, so now I'm going to switch to the Pro MPAII 2. We're just going to hot swap. All right, still hear me? Okay. So I'm going to probably go back to back with the whirly since I did that last. You'll hear that next going through the tube. And the tube, I do have them engaged in plate voltage high on both channels. And I know there's a stereo versus dual setting. I left it on dual. I actually kind of like that, just to have the channels separated the way I want. So anyhow, I'm going to turn off the mic again, or turn it down. Maybe what I'll do is try to focus in here on the ART. But it might not work so well to try to focus in on that. But I'll do that again. I'm just going to go ahead and engage that drive. So we have drive on the keyboard going, and we're using the tubes as well in the Pro MPAII 2, because I kind of like that drive. I'll probably have to turn down the keyboard a little bit. Well, that's probably a little too much. Let me turn it down some more. Okay. All right, let me make some adjustments so maybe it'll actually work that way. Honestly, I kind of like how that sounds, but that's the kind of the, I suppose, a solid state drive on the keyboard. Turn it off again. We'll try it again. We'll try to drive it a little bit harder, maybe, with the actual tubes. They are on the high voltage. Of course, I may end up replacing the tubes. Not that I want. It brags about being clean, so I'm going to mainly use it for voice, so it's all good. Let's see what this sounds like. All right. I don't claim to be an official whirly player, but that even got in the red a little bit, but it didn't sound too clipped to me. I suppose if you're playing whirly and it has some drive built into the patch on your keyboard, you could still use it. Maybe turn it down a little bit, so maybe more supplemental, which I didn't really do that part. But let me go to the piano now. The same one we had before. I think it was 2 dash. I don't know where it was. Oh, there it is. And I'll turn on that pad again a little bit. We'll see how that sounds. I should have turned down the mic so you can hear the clunking. Let's try that a little bit more. I might have been in a different key before. Well, I'll try to emulate what I was doing. Perhaps I wanted to do like a MIDI track and then replay it, but I decided I'm just gonna play live. Deal with it. No, whoops. Trying to focus in on the Pro MPAII 2 and kind of adjust the exposure so maybe you can see the meters from way back there. But it's not a big deal. But trust me, they're moving, especially the one that says tube warmth. And I don't know that you'd use tubes so much on piano, but it doesn't really sound bad, so it's not like nitty, it's not like gritty to me. Now I did want a little more of that grit on the whirly, but and I'm sure there's a way to make that happen. I know you turn up the gain, turn down your output, I know all that, but I can't be clipping the gain too much. Now, I did go into the instrument high impedance, and I know supposedly most keyboards have low impedance. So I did have a direct box, and I did try to use that, but I had to turn it to the instrument setting versus line level to make it really sound good. So I think maybe some keyboards have what's called maybe a medium impedance, like 600 ohms or something. I'm not really sure. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I do know what I'm talking about when I say that it sounded more like a real signal when I turned that direct box's switch to instrument level. But I know it's supposed to be line level, but anyhow, I thought, well, if that's true, if I'm going to use a direct box and then I'm going to have to switch it to the instrument, because otherwise it was kind of not sounding so good, then I might as well use this. I'll at least try this high Z instrument input on either side here and see what happens. And it sounded good. This is what this is. Now I could turn down this plate voltage and see what we get, because we probably don't really need to saturate the tubes that much for piano. It'll take a few seconds for it to calm down. All right. Just kind of a real quick rough take on what it would sound like. Tubes versus, or the MPA, sorry, the ART Pro MPAII 2. And I didn't want to put it against the Scarlett per se, because that's a very good interface. And I think it's known for having some pretty good preamps. It's just that, you have this preamp. And this has some, I guess, passive inputs too, you could say. So, with that, I guess that's my sound demo. It's not much. I apologize for that. And plus, I'm just getting my feet wet learning how to use this, so maybe there's something I missed. I never even did try using the phase invert ever. This is things I've never messed with at all. So I hope you still got something out of it. I definitely can get it to work. It actually has a pretty clean sound if you ask me, but I haven't got into all the nuances of just the kind of I think it actually said on the box it has a low harmonic distortion. It kind of bragged about that actually. Anyhow, I suppose if I'd add some different tubes, I could get some different characteristics. And that is something I want to try, but before I do that, I'll give it, I don't want to say a chance, that's not the right word, but just kind of understand what this sounds like, get a feel for it in its current state, how it came from, the factory. So, with all the default tubes in there, probably from China, but I don't know. I think that's what I've heard. With that, I will let you go. Thanks for watching. Do remember to subscribe and hit the notification button.
you.